What's up, bros? I have returned. It's only been, what, a few weeks or something? Anyways, in today's video, I decided to try something new and talk about my school experiences. I have very few because, well, after elementary school, I became homeschooled. These are some pretty short stories, so I'll be mentioning 3 different experiences I've had. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for, more content like this, and so I can fix my upload schedule. But yeah, let's get on with the video. So this story takes place in Treasure Hills Elementary, Harlingen, Texas. And, well, hold on, I hope I don't get in trouble for saying that. But anyways, so in this school, my class was like in the middle, I would say. If you took a turn to the left and the right, it would lead to the gym and recess. I almost said the playground. I don't fucking know. Anyways, I was doing my own thing, living my happy life at the time, and there was this kid. His name's Noah, or let's call him Noah. Anyway, so Noah was my friend, but then I don't know what happened before, because we were like really good friends, and then we just stopped talking, and then we didn't like each other anymore. But I remember me and him were outside, and like the cameras had this blind spot, which at the time I didn't know of. And well, me and Noah were just playing rock, paper, scissors, just doing shits and giggles, because the gym coaches had all the classes line up, and I think it was because we were about to go back inside. And during this time, I was a very sensitive kid. So if you were to talk shit to like my parents or me, something bad would happen. I laugh at it, even though it's not really a funny thing. I remember that Noah was being an asshole, and then he decided to insult my mama. Not really, but he just said, "Yo, mama's so stupid." And then I punched him before he could finish his sentence. Fun fact, if you were to get punched, specifically in the middle part of your stomach, you'll take the opposite of a deep breath. So all the air you just decided to breathe in or inhale is gonna get pushed outward. And at the time, I did not know this, so I got a little spooked when he fell on the floor and started wheezing for a few seconds. He ended up getting up eventually, so he was alright, but he was a little frightened, and I was a little frightened, so I decided to do what I could have thought was my best option. I told him not to say anything or I'd punch him again, which wasn't really the best thing I could have said at the time, but it was what happened. Anyways, a few minutes later, we get to class, and I'm sitting until Noah raised his hands like a little bitch, and he said, "Teacher, Nathan punched me and it hurts," like a fucking nerd. And well, this class happened to be the exact class where my teacher hated my guts. My teachers were assholes. It was probably me that was a problem, but still. But this was the kind of teacher that would look for any excuse just to get me in trouble. And well, she got what she wanted. So she immediately made me go to the office, and I went to the principal's office specifically because, yeah, punching someone's not really... Anyways, the principal was a really chill dude. He asked me what happened and why it happened, so I explained everything to him. He was a little upset, but not like too upset. But he ended up telling me about the school's blind spot, and that he would need me to identify where the incident happened. So I did. But at the end of the day, I just got an office referral, which I don't know what the difference is between an office referral and a regular referral, which wasn't really anything new due to how troublesome I was as a kid. And well, as soon as I got home, I told my parents, and they just said, okay. But it was interesting, to say the least. Alrighty, on to the second story. This one is in the same school, but it takes place in the cafeteria. And well, the kid involved, let's call him Jacob. And there's actually 2 stories involving this kid, the fall off of our friendship, but let's start with this one first. I was in the cafeteria, minding my business, talking to some friends. Apparently he had a girlfriend because, that's a thing. And both him and his girlfriend were a bit of an asshole and pretty rude to me. Now, unlike the first story where I would usually hit somebody for being rude, I didn't hit them this time. I verbally abused them. like I do with children on the internet. Anyways, a few days before, or a few days prior to this incident, I was watching a movie, and the main character was fighting some villain. And I think it was rated R because the main character called some dude a pussy. Like, he called the villain a pussy. And 9-year-old me didn't know what that word was at the time. And when I asked my sister and my mom what it meant, which is, looking back, as probably the worst people I could have asked, and they said it was a bad word and for me not to say it. Now keep in mind, I am a very troublesome child. Back to that current day, Jacob and his girlfriend kept on calling me names, remarks, to the point where he called me a bitch. And I didn't take that lightly, so I called him a pussy. And I said it like with hatred. And if you ever been to school, you would know, like, especially in elementary school, when the kids would be like, oh my god, or ooh, like that kind of shit. He ended up saying, oh my god, why would you say that? And then his girl was like, what did you just call us? Or like, something pretty stupid. Unfortunately enough, right behind me was the coach, who happened to heard what I said, but not what Jacob said. So I explained to him, I'm like, hey, Jacob called me a bitch. And, you know, looking back at it, me repeating that word did not help my case at all. Because he just got even more mad at me. And anybody in their right mind would think he would get mad at both me and Jacob. No, he let the kid go scot-free. He just sat me down, told me to wait to eat. Because, you know, there was a line for the cafeteria. He took me out, and I was just sitting, waiting for the principal to come. Because, well, he called the principal. And the principal sat down in front of me, asked me what happened. And so I explained to him. He gave me a big sigh before just giving me a referral. He looked so disappointed. And then he didn't even do anything with the other kid. He just scolded him a bit before just leaving. Now it was the end of the school. I thought it was over, but then my mom came to pick me up. As soon as I got in that car, I felt the principal's hand go on my shoulder. And what he did right after filled me with so much dread. He knocked on the car window, asking my mom to roll it down. And then he explained to her what happened. Once he told her what happened, my mom was relatively pissed at me. She gave me that death glare, like the, oh, when we get home, it's over for you kind of glare. And so I explained to her what happened, because I felt like I was pretty justified. And well, I was. Like, she just said, okay. She understood, and then she's like, all right, you can go. So it didn't end badly. Alright, for our final story, this isn't going to be some fun one like the others. This is actually a pretty serious one, and probably my worst experience I've ever had at that school. And I think it's also my last one. But this takes place in right outside the gym. It was recess time. I was just playing, doing my whole thing, whatever. And there's this game, I don't know if it's still a thing, it's called T-ball or tetherball. It would have a tire on the floor with a pole stuck in it, and the pole would have a rope connected with a dodgeball. And well, the game would work by having the opponent hit the ball to the rope finally ties her out either the left or the right, depending on what side you're on. And to make matters worse, for this story, the tire happened to be on cement with a bunch of small rocks and dirt on it. So the whole floor was just extremely bumpy and rocky. So if you fell, it would hurt badly. And yeah, it was my turn to go against the person on the other side. And sadly, I was clueless as to who it was behind me during that time. But surprise, surprise, it was Jacob. And when my opponent hit the ball toward me, right when I was about to hit it back, I felt Jacob's hands on my back as he pushes me. And well, before I could react, I am pushed forward, and the ball hits me, or the ball that was hit by my opponent hits me in the face. And sadly, that day I decided to wear shorts. Probably the worst thing I could have done. Anyways, so as I fall onto the floor and the ball hits me in the face, I slide on the cement, scraping my whole front body on the rocks, cutting and bruising my body. And it was horrible. It hurt so badly. And what I thought was kind of funny is that when I was struggling to stand to even get up and see things. I remember some girl walked past. I know some girl I liked too, I think. Because when she looked at me, she would look at me with concern. And as soon as I saw her, I tried to make myself not look like a bitch. So I stood up and began taking my sorry ass a long walk to the nurse's office. Because for some reason, that was so far from, like, it's like the complete opposite side of where recess, or like the whole gym and playground thing is at. But as soon as I got there, she ended up saying that I looked fine and all I needed is a fucking ice bag. Keep in mind, my body was drenched in blood. But she decided to be generous enough to call my mom and say, hello, is this redacted? Nathan had a little accident, and if you could possibly bring some spare clothing for him. Then right after that, my mom ended up asking if I was okay and why I needed the clothing. The nurse proceeds to say, while looking at me, seeing how bloody I am, and says, oh yeah, he's fine, I just need to bring him some clothes, please. She then hung up before looking at me and saying, your mother will be here soon. She then walks up to me and gives me another ice pack. Anyways, a few minutes go by until my mom finally arrives, and when she sees me, she gives me that what the fuck kind of look to the nurse before saying, I think I'm gonna take him home. The nurse proceeds to smile and say, alright, before taking my damn ice pack she gave me. And to this day, I have no clue what the fuck she was thinking, but hey, fuck, that's cool. And I hate how horrible people were there. Anyways, those were all the stories I had for today, or at least for this school. So if you want more shitty stories like these, be sure to vote on my Instagram post, or just say in the comments below. Alrighty now. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.